Takeaway Chinese, where you can take some Chinese away and experience progress day by day. Takeaway Chinese, we will promise you a difference.
你好，欢迎收听随行汉语 Welcome to Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Honglin with Steve Hatherley in the studio. Hello, Steve.
Hello there. Thanks for having me back.
Always pleasure having you in the studio talking about a lot of, well, to you, new things in the country. And I'm pretty sure you are about to experience one thing that is, in my opinion, quite exciting in China. That's one of our, well, actually, just strike the one of. It's the most exciting, most important festival here in China. I don't know what that is.
That must be the upcoming Spring Festival.
Yes, Spring Festival.
When you're here in Beijing, or I'm guessing anywhere in China, for the few weeks before the Spring Festival, everywhere you go, even if you don't know what is coming, you know something is coming. Something big is coming. For example, I was in the grocery store last night to pick up a few things, and I noticed all of these red cards and red envelopes and these kind of big signs that had messages on them. They were for sale, and I don't know what they were saying, but I know that it was all Spring Festival related somehow, some way.
Here in China, like you said, it definitely is a big deal. Everyone is preparing for it. Every mall, every shopping centers, all of these places, and also the restaurants, of course, are gearing up for the Spring Festival period of time.
So let me take a guess. In the week before the holiday begins, all of a sudden, the traffic on the roads will get a lot worse. Why? Because people are out doing their grocery shopping, because people are out going gift shopping, perhaps, and they're doing it in the lead up to the holiday because it's a long holiday, right? So people are getting all the foods that they need to get and getting all the items they need to get in preparation. You could feel a big holiday was coming because the traffic would get really bad in the middle of the afternoon on the local highways and within the city itself. Worse, more so than usual.
I think these years it's getting a little bit better in the sense that a lot of people are shopping online for their shopping for the festival. Yet, I have to say, like you said, it's a long holiday. So a lot of people who were or who are usually responsible for taking your groceries to your doorstep, taking your food delivery to your doorstep, they would also go home to their family and spend the festival, which means a lot of people would choose to do a lot more online shopping comparing to their everyday lives so that they can get their stuff before the holiday.
That makes sense. You know, I saw a documentary years ago about traveling during, I'm assuming it was the Spring Festival. I could be wrong. It might have been another major holiday, but I think it was the Spring Festival. And it was talking about the fact that, you know, a lot of people in China live in tier 1 cities, bigger cities, and they live here for perhaps, you know, the majority of the year. And this time of year, for example, is one of the only opportunities that a lot of people have, because they're busy with their work, to go back to their hometowns.
Yes, it's definitely about the Spring Festival.
And this is the case for not a few hundred people. This is the case for millions of people. So the train tickets are in very high demand, and traffic, of course, gets really bad over the holiday as well. But what's funny is that, you know, I watched that so many years ago with, of course, at that time, no knowledge that I would be coming here and be here during the holiday season. So I'm looking forward to seeing how things go. I know that in the city, it gets decorated. There's a lot of red lanterns that are everywhere. Can I ask that? What's the significance of the red lanterns that are, you just drive down the majority of any kind of big street and you'll see a ton of red lanterns hanging?
Well, lantern to start with is a very Chinese style kind of decoration. It's not only on the major streets and avenues. It's at home as well. For instance, in my home, especially actually my parents' house and my grandparents' home, they would also also hang up some red lantern on the balcony as a way of decorating the house.
Oh, okay.
And the color red is a very lucky color. It's a color of blessing, of auspiciousness in the Chinese culture. It's very much loved.
The lantern itself, does it hold any cultural significance, perhaps historically speaking, or is it just functioning as a lamp?
Yeah, I would assume the second, the letter, yeah, for traditionally. But definitely, if you see the decoration of the lantern itself, the painting on the outside, some paper cutting in the middle side, and maybe in the Chinese culture, we also have the very delicate made and designed kind of lantern that the inner side of it can rotate a little bit, and the outer side, it's almost like a tiny little movie on the lantern.
Yeah, really cool. Anyway, like you said, it is the big holiday of the year here in the country.
And you've already mentioned that during the holiday, a lot of people would travel around. And so I think we can at least start learning 2 keywords about the Spring Festival. One is the Spring Festival itself. We call it Spring Festival because the Chinese word for Spring Festival is literally spring and festival, 春节.
春节.
春节. It's kind of like 春天, that's the spring, and 节日 is festival.
Okay.
春节, Spring Festival. It's the starting of the year according to the traditional Chinese lunar calendar, and it's celebrating and also signifying the starting of the spring. So 春节.
春节.
Yes. So everything related to this festival would have a little bit of chun, spring element. For example, the travel rush you mentioned, that's the Spring Festival travel rush, 春运.
春运.
运输. 运输 basically means to ship one thing from one place to another, or transport a lot of people from one place to another.
Yeah, right. We're shipping the people.
We're
on the
shipping
holiday.
the people, yes. So 运输 or 运动, move. You move one thing from one place to another. So 运动. So 春运 is the Spring Festival holiday travel rush.
Got it.
And 春节, that's the Spring Festival. And sometimes we would say 新春. So 新 is new. The new spring. The coming spring would be the new spring. So 新春, you would say things like 贺新春. So 恭贺 is like good blessings to the new spring. And the new spring, 新春 here is definitely another way of saying the spring festival. So
Understood.
The new spring, the spring festival, the coming spring, the festive period of time.
It's all related to this time of year. And again, this is the beginning of the new year on the Chinese calendar. That makes sense because I was wondering, why is it called the Spring Festival when it's still wintertime?
Yes.
But according to the calendar, it is the beginning
of the spring.
Of the season.
Yes, yes. And that is why for our dear listeners, for this episode, we're going to talk about preparing for the Spring Festival so that you would have the whole experience from preparing for it and traveling basically across the entire country so that you can celebrate it with your families. And of course, if you're interested in Chinese culture and you want to get a grip on the Chinese language, then this is the show for you. Stick with us for 30 minutes and you soon see the rewards. And for more fun Chinese learning, follow our Facebook page, Learn Chinese, to watch many fun videos and live streams. But now, let's provide you with some free Chinese for takeaway. So when it comes to preparing for the Spring Festival, like Steve has just said, one very important element is to buy for the holiday. Do you also do that for other festivals in other cultures?
Oh, I think it's a universal thing. You know, everybody needs to get ready to celebrate. Online shopping here in China is, of course, the way that people do things. But I think where I'm from in Canada, and particularly in Nova Scotia, it's still more common to get in the car and drive to the grocery store and get everything you need. And then, of course, on the day of the celebration, the actual day, that's just a long, busy day for whoever happens to be working in the kitchen on the foods.
Yes.
Usually it's a team of people that are helping to prepare.
Yeah, that is very interesting. We can definitely start dissecting the process of preparing for the holiday in different ways, like how you do it. But one more important thing is what you buy. Exactly what are the goods that you buy specifically for the holiday? Because, for example, for the Spring Festival, or in Chinese, we used to call it 过年.
过年.
过 means to spend, to pass, or to celebrate.
In terms of time?
In terms of time. Since we also say 过周末. 周末 is the weekend, so you spend the weekend in that context. And 过年 is like celebrate the new year or pass the new year. And the idea here is that traditionally, when the Gregorian calendar was not in China just yet, the traditional Chinese lunar calendar was our calendar. So that was our New Year spending. So 过年, spend the transitioning period between the old year and the new year. That's celebrating the Spring Festival for us. And that is why preparing for the Spring Festival, or to be more specific, purchasing for the Spring Festival in Chinese is 买年货.
买年货.
Yes, so 买 is to buy, and 年 is the year or the new year in this context. 货 is goods, so literally buy year goods. Buy the new year goods.
So if I say 你买年货吗? Does that mean, did you buy your New Year's goods?
Yes, but you have to say 你买年货了吗? Suggesting the action of 买年货 is completed.
So okay,
Is it completed yet?
This is a good learning point. So ma, we know that that's the question, the question form. If you put la before ma, then you're implying that whatever you're asking is already done.
Yes, because if in Chinese you say 你买年货吗? It's kind of like saying, do you want to buy the New Year good? Like with me, let's go doing that.
Yeah, okay, I understand. So if we're standing in the office together and I said 你买年货吗? That implies like, hey, I'm going to go.
Yes.
Do you want to come?
Exactly.
But if I say 你买年货了吗? That means, so did you do your shopping?
Yes, did you do your shopping? It's kind of like asking whether or not this completed form of action has already happened.
Okay, so here's another question. Here we're talking about New Year's goods. But if I just want to take that out and put in anything else,
yes,
then I can still keep that structure when I'm asking the question. So did you buy blah, 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 blah? So for example, 你买咖啡了吗? Did you get your coffee?
Yes. You can even change the verb. You can say 你吃饭了吗? Did you eat?
Right. Yeah, exactly. So this is a really useful structure to know, because you just take out the verb, put in whatever verb you want, take out the noun, put in whatever noun you want, and you can kind of keep that box in the same shape.
Yes. That's the sentence structure we can learn here.
Culture question. So I know that food-wise, there's different foods represented from different parts of China. The northern foods are different from the southern foods, that may be different from the eastern or western foods. The dishes may vary. So does that mean that the foods that are enjoyed during this Spring Festival are also different depending on the region?
Completely, yes.
Oh, really?
That is a really good question, because I used to think dumplings, 饺子, was for everybody, for every festival, and especially for the Spring Festival. Yet I realized that people in, for example, Guangdong province, which is the southern part of the country, and also in Hainan, for example, in Guangxi, or even in Shanghai, they don't usually have dumplings for their spring festivals.
Interesting.
They might not even know how to make dumplings at home. They might buy dumplings in restaurants and order and, see how it's like. Yet it's not a festive food or the festive food for them. So you're right. It can vary.
Well, wait now. So, for example, one of my favorite Chinese dishes is the soup dumplings, the xiaolongbao. Mm-hmm. So that's not commonly eaten in the southern part of the country?
On the contrary, it is commonly eaten in the southern part of the country, yet it's not that common in the northern part of the country. Or at least the types are different. I'm not really sure which type you're talking about. We know there are a lot of different types of xiaolongbao. As long as the size of the steamed dumpling is small, you can call it a xiaolongbao. Yet in the northern part, the wrap of the dumpling of the xiaolongbao is quite thin and relatively smooth. Yet, for me, when I was a little girl, when I was in Shanxi province, the xiaolongbao I taste, the steamed dumpling was, the wrap of it was more of a chewy, relatively thicker, like the bigger steamed dumpling kind. It can be different.
I was talking about the one with the soup inside the dumpling. That one's my favorite. That is unreal.
And that one is more popular in cities like Shanghai or Suzhou. Okay. So a little bit different.
Understood. But yeah, that's a good thing to know culturally speaking. And I thought that was probably going to be the answer because
the country's too big.
The country's so big, and if the food is different from region to region, then there's not going to be a universal kind of... The reason I asked that question is because in Canada and America, when we have our Thanksgiving dinner or our Christmas dinner, it's kind of standard, kind of universal within those two countries set menu. It might vary on the side dishes a little bit from state to state or province to province, but generally speaking, it's going to be the same. But here in China, that's not the case.
That's not the case. But one thing is for sure, that is Spring Festival New Year's Eve dinner is very, very important to every family. It can be the Spring Festival Eve dinner or the dinner for the Spring Festival day, yet people would definitely shop for the ingredient, for all kinds of dishes. In Chinese, we call it 年夜饭. So the Spring Festival Eve dinner, 年, we already know it's the year. 夜 is evening, so eve. And 饭 is food. 年夜饭 is the thing. And people would shop for it. Like you said, in different parts of the country, people might prepare for it differently. For people in the northern part of the country, definitely we would buy different kinds of meat. We would buy pork. We would get sometimes chicken or duck. And now people would get shrimp. People would get fish. People would get all kinds of meat for that New Year's Eve dinner.
So there's the New Year's Eve dinner and then the New Year's Day dinner?
For the New Year's Day, it depends. For some families, the New Year's Day lunch is very important. For some people, the New Year's Day is supposed to be a day that you do not cook, suggesting that for the following days of the year, you don't have to lift a finger to have something you can eat. It's,
okay.
Happy wishes.
So the big meal, even though the food might be different from region to region, but all across the country, the big meal happens on New Year's Eve.
Mostly.
Got it.
And people shop for that. And that is part of the 年货 we talk about. And another very important part of the 年货 relates to the decoration of the house. You've already noticed the decoration on the streets, the red lantern and stuff. Yet in our houses, a very, very important thing to do is to hang up the couplet.
What's a couplet?
对联 couplet is something you get to see. It's a long stripe of red paper.
That's what I was talking about
yes.
when I said some signs were for sale. I didn't know how to say it properly.
They're not signs, they're couplets. So the couplets are like two verses from a poem. It's kind of like that, but they do not have to be two verses from the poem, except that they rhyme. And they carry auspicious great wishes, and you stick them on both sides of the door. And you would also have a short phrase on top of the door. We call it a 横批. So that short phrase is kind of like a summarizing kind of saying, carrying your good wishes and auspicious blessings for the coming year.
So people can choose whatever message they want to put on their door. And by the way, that's on the outside of the door?
Yes, on the outside of the door.
So you're showing that message to other people.
You show that message to other people and also maybe a superpower in the universe. I don't know.
I understand. And then the message itself, that's totally up to the family or the person that lives there.
Oh, yeah, to the degree that they can even buy the red paper and write it themselves.
Oh, cool.
Very cool.
So it's not like if you look, for example, during the holidays in Canada, there's a wreath on the door and it says Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. It's not like that.
It's much more diverse and fun and customized than that.
So is it too personal to ask what your message will be?
No, it's not. It's definitely encouraged because they're taking an interest in their personal taste.
So what's yours going to be this year? Do you know?
I haven't decided yet, but what I can say is that last year I also stick to tiny little couplets on the door of the house of my cat. And I plan to do that as well. Tiny little ones.
Okay.
Saying like, I think the previous one was about the cat getting fatter and cuter and the family getting richer and happier.
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah, because those two things can be connected, sure.
It can be.
Yeah.
So yes, couplets would be one thing. And also the couplet in Chinese would be 对联.
对联.
Yes, 对 carries the meaning of match. So the two lines, the two verses are matching. And 联 is the name for the verses. So in the Chinese culture, traditional Chinese poems would have 4 verses, and each verse would have their name, and each verse is a 联.
Got it. Is that the only decoration for the couplets that go on the door outside or on your cat's house, presumably inside, or are there other decorations?
There are other decorations for sure. We talked about the red lantern, 红灯笼.
红灯笼.
灯笼. 灯 is the lantern or lamp word, and 笼 is actually kind of like a cage, because if you think about the traditional Chinese lantern, you would imagine it kind of like a cage.
Yeah, like a box.
Locking the light inside,
Right.
the candle inside. And that's 灯笼. But we also have 彩灯. 彩 means colorful. So you can have some colorful little lights surrounding the balcony, for example. And one very important one would be 福字.
福字.
字 is character. So literally it's talking about the 福 character, and 福 is the auspicious, good blessing character in the Chinese language. So 福, you can find the character 福in, for example, 幸福. 幸福 means happy, but it's the profound happiness. It's not about I get a present, I get a coffee from my friend and I'm happy, kind of happy. It's more like I'm chasing happiness in my life.
Fulfillment.
Yes. So that's a very important character. And we would also hang up that character at home, on the wall, on the door, and 福字. So the 福 character is another very typical decoration.
So you'll see that on the couplets sometimes?
You can see that in the couplets as well, but most occasions, or you can actually see the character, since it's a really fortunate character or very lucky character, it is carrying all the positive vibe, so it can exist on its own.
Understood, yeah.
As just one character, you decorate that character in different ways, and then you put it up.
So you can find that anywhere. It doesn't have to be on the couplet itself.
And that is another type of decoration, and you can shop for them. Sometimes different places would even send out some of the couplets, 对联和福字, as a gift. And sometimes I think here in the company, we would even, in different years, it depends, but sometimes people would gather together and ask one of the colleagues who has the best handwriting, the best Chinese calligraphy skill to write for everybody.
Oh, that person must not like this time of year. That's their busy time.
They're very busy and they're good. It's cute. So that you can customize your couplet.
With the help of your coworker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And besides that, one thing I hope I can prepare for you would be the Chinese blessings you send to your friends in China.
Oh, okay. You can prepare for me?
I can prepare for you.
Help me out.
Because when it comes to sending auspicious phrases, even though we say we can customize some, depending on who you're sending this phrase to and best wishes to, there are certain 4-character Chinese idioms that you can use in your wishes.
Perfect.
So, for example, the most common one, we talk about Happy New Year in English. In Chinese, we have that too. We say 新年快乐.
新年快乐.
Yes, so 快乐 is happy. 新年 New Year, literally Happy New Year. And we've talked about 新春, the new spring, is a way of addressing the new spring festival. So we would also say 新春快乐.
新春快乐.
Yes, so Happy Spring Festival. And we talked about 过年 being another way of saying spending and celebrating the traditional Chinese New Year. So you can also say 过年好, like 你好.
Oh, okay. 过年好.
过年好. So have fun and spend a good Chinese New Year.
Okay. So these are expressions to use before the holiday.
During the holiday as well.
Or during the holiday, right. Yeah, okay. Got it.
And another really, really common one would be wish you all the best. May everything go as you wish. That is a very common one. 万事如意.
万事
如意.
如意.
万 is 10,000. So suggesting many, 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 all the 事情, thing, all the things. 如 is like. 意 is your way of hoping. So I hope 1,000 things can go as you would want them to go.
万事如意.
Yes, so you can say 祝你, bless you, or give you the wish of 万事如意. I hope all the things go as you wish.
These are lovely.
Yes. And you can also have very specific ones. One thing that some people question about the Chinese culture is that during festival period of time, we would wish people to make a lot of money. That is because to common people, if you can make a lot of money, then you get to create your own very beautiful life. You can have more things in your life that you wish for. So making some money is definitely a good thing. It's a simple wish.
Okay.
It's not about being materialized. It's more like hopefully by having a lot of money, you can get the life you want. So 恭喜发财 is another one.
恭喜发财.
Yes, 恭喜发财. You've already used that one previously, I think.
I know.
Yes.
I did.
So wishing you wealth and prosperity. I now think it has something to do with manifesting. Because 恭喜 is like congratulate you.
Yeah.
发财 is making a lot of money. So instead of saying, I wish you can make a lot of money, in Chinese, we say, congratulate you for making a lot of money already. So it's manifesting you having a lot of money already.
Oh, yes, that's right. Okay, so we can put these together, right? In some kind of combination. For example, can I say, 万事如意,恭喜发财?
You can totally say that.
Okay, can I say 新年快乐,恭喜发财?
Yes.
Can I say 新年快乐,万事如意?
Yes.
Okay, I understand.
You
now.
can even say 新年快乐,万事如意,恭喜发财,步步高升,身体健康,学业进步.
That's all the luck in the world is
You
going
can put
to you.
all the luck together with these 4-character idioms.
So I guess the more you use, the better luck the person will have.
You can also make them very much customized in the sense that if you're talking to a kid, you can wish the kid scoring high in the coming year. If you're talking to someone who is starting their own business, you can say 恭喜发财 to them because they are owning a business. And if you're looking at someone who is working in a huge company and waiting for that promotion to happen, you can wish them 步步高升. Every step is a higher step. You're stepping up high. May you rise higher with each step.
Question. These expressions are commonly used for Spring Festival, but these expressions are saying like Happy New Year as well. Do people also say this the December 31st to January 1st New Year, or are these expressions only used during the Spring Festival?
Well, to start with, people can use them in the starting of the new year as well, January 1st. They can even use them in birthday parties. They can use them in almost all the happy and auspicious occasions. The only thing is that since Spring Festival is really, really celebrated every year, this is the occasion that you will hear the most of these.
I got it. So feel free to use these from December 31st to January 1st. Feel free to use these during the Spring Festival. Feel free to use these anytime you're kind of wishing someone some sort of good fortune or good luck.
Exactly. So I think we are all set. We've got our 年货 goods for the Spring Festival. We've bought some ingredient for the 年夜饭, the New Year's Eve big dinner, and we've got some decoration like 对联 and 福字, and now we have the words in our pocket we can tell our loved ones during the celebration, and we're ready to spend the Spring Festival of 2025. And that brings us to the end of today's Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Honglin with Steve here in the studio. For more episodes of the show, you can visit our website at radio.cgtn.com and go to the column podcast. You can also listen to the show and read the script there. Find us wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Just search for Takeaway Chinese. Don't forget to leave your questions, comments, and a 5-star rating. And for this episode, maybe your favorite word to wish other people good luck during the Spring Festival. 感谢收听，恭喜发财，新年快乐，步步高升，万事如意。
谢谢，Thank you. See you next time.
See you next time.